Howdy yogis, Yoga Hollis here. Today we're just going to focus on stretching. Have a elastic band. So I like to use this elastic band here, and so a nice size elastic band. Have a strap, 2 blankets, 2 blocks, and we'll begin. So sitting up nice and tall to a comfortable seated position, whatever that may be for you. And just join your palms to touch in front of your chest. Breathe. Focus on rooting down into your seat and then lengthen the crown of your head towards the ceiling as your shoulders fall from your ears. Ears lift from your shoulders. Breathe. So your shoulders are moving away from your fingers as the armpit creases are lifting up and the elbows are hugging into the body to elongate the torso. And just take several breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. Focus on breathing into the entire rib cage, not just the front body, the belly, but breathe into the sides and into the back body also. Allow yourself to just ground, soften your shoulders, softening your throat, your jaw. Just a few more breaths like this. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly bow your head towards your heart. Opening your eyes, let your hands come down to your thighs. So we're going to start off in the hands and knees position. Wrists are underneath your shoulders. Knees are underneath your hips. So we exhale, press the tops of the feet into the floor, cat pose. Take the back high up towards the ceiling, belly button into the spine, opening up the back here. Inhale, tuck your toes, belly button into the spine and stretch your heart forward. Exhale, cat pose. So not dropping into the shoulders, lifting your shoulders off of your arms, tuck your toes, press your heels behind your belly button into the spine, cow pose. And do that a couple of times on your own, cat's cow. Make sure you're flipping your feet. And on the cow pose, push your heels behind you, belly button into the spine, extend the spine forward, shoulders moving back. And just about 2 more times here. Good, and now just come into that tabletop position here. Keep the engagement of your core. It's okay to press the tops of your feet into the floor strongly. And one more time, exhale, cat pose. Take the back high to the sky. Bring your big toes to touch. Take your hips towards your heels. Stretch the arms out. Come onto your fingertips. Stretch the floor mat forward. Look forward. And see if you can lengthen the size of your waist as you're sticking your bottom out slightly behind you. Don't round into the lower back, so the flesh of the buttocks is lifting up the bottom part as you stretch your heart forward. Keep the hands off the floor as if you have grapefruits underneath your hands, and then lower your forehead towards the floor. And just take a couple of breaths here. So if your forehead doesn't touch the floor, with a couple of exhales and breathing, it will happen or may not happen. Whatever happens, it's okay. Just be present here in this space. Couple more breaths here. And now place your hands flat onto the floor. Stretch the floor forward with the base of your fingers and fingertips. Keep the arms strong. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Move your shoulders over your wrists. Now bend the elbows out towards the sides. Turn the elbow towards your hips. Now straighten your arms. So you can feel your breastbone stretching forward. And then your knees should be behind your hips. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees about 6 inches off of the floor. Stretch your hips back. Stretch the mat forward. Notice the deep bend into my knees. Good. Inhale into the plank pose. Pushing the heels back, belly button into the spine. So think about that cow pose. You're pushing your heels behind you. Stretch your breastbone forward. Firm the arms in. And then lift the hips up. Come high into the balls of your feet. Lift the back side of your bottom up. Belly button from the floor. And then slowly, with slight bent knees, stretch your heels back. Stretch your hips back. Stretch the top of the upper thighs back and firm the arms in towards each other. Good. Inhale, plank pose. Lifting from the floor, both knees to the floor. Untuck your toes, child's pose. Keeping the arms out in front of you, come onto your fingertips again. Stretch the floor forward, stretch your hips back. Look beyond the top of your mat. Palms to the floor. It's with the base of your fingers and your fingertips. You're sliding the floor forward with your arms nice and strong. Knees stay where they are. Move your shoulders over your wrists. Scoop the belly in. Tuck your toes. Lift the knees up. Press your chest towards your thighs as you're gripping the floor forward with your fingertips. And then begin to press the hips back. Come high onto the balls of your feet. Lift your bottom up and then slowly stretch the hips back. Breathe. 5 breaths here. Inhale, exhale. So notice we don't want to come into this position here. We want to bend the knees, press your chest towards your thighs, stretch the mat forward to push your hips back. Good. 2 more breaths. Pressing the inner palms into the floor, firming the arms in. Inhale, plank pose. Good. Lower both knees down to the floor. Step your right foot forward, up between your hands. Now with the right foot forward, up between your hands, bring your left hand onto the mat, or you can place a block underneath this hand. Bring your right hand to your right thigh bone. Exhale, push the thigh away from you with your right hand. Rotate your right shoulder to the ceiling. Now keep your right knee in line with your right heel. And now take a couple of breaths here. Your right hip crease is moving back. Breathe onto the left side of the back body. So feel as if the breath is expanding in this area here. And on your exhale, that's where you get to revolve a bit more by moving your left armpit away from your right hip crease. Good. Reach the right elbow to the ceiling. Exhale, elbow to the floor. Inhale, elbow to the sky. Exhale, elbow to the floor. 3 more times like this. Inhale up. Exhale down. Keep your bottom left shoulder rotating out towards your pinky finger, not your thumb, as we bring it down. So you don't want the shoulder collapsing in. You want the shoulder moving back as we open up. And then we bring it down. 1 more time. Take it up. Good. And stretch the arm up towards the ceiling. Roll your left shoulder back. Find that Cobra pose to open up your chest. Press your right big toe mound into the floor. Tuck your left toes. And then push the heel back. As you push the heel back and you turn the bottom left rib towards your right and elongate the torso. The right hip crease is moving back. Good. Look to the floor. Hands softly to the floor. Step back gently, slowly into that downward facing dog. Pull, come high into the balls of your feet. Lift your bottom up. Scoop the belly in and then press back. Good. Breathe. Soften your head, your neck. Little shaking from side to side. Good. Slowly bring both knees to the floor. Step your left foot forward. So as you're here, bringing your right hand onto the floor. So your right shoulder head is not coming into this position. We're rolling out. So maybe even turn the fingers out a bit to keep your chest open. Left hand to your left thigh bone. Good. I like to press the top of the back foot into the floor to get a bit more length in the body. And then we exhale. Take the left shoulder up. So notice the shoulder not collapsing in. The shoulder head is moving back. Good. Take the hand behind your ear. Lengthen your right side. Your left hip crease moving back, elongating the torso. Exhale. Take the elbow towards the floor. Inhale. Elbow up towards the sky. Exhale. Elbow towards the floor. 3 more times like that. This time, when the elbow is up, should be your third one. Keep the bottom shoulder moving back. Open up the chest. Good. Reach the arm up towards the ceiling. Try to touch the ceiling so you're not dropping down here. Stretching up. Tuck the back toes. Push the heel behind you. And rotate. Lengthen the spine. Good. Your outer right hip is lifting up. You're lengthening the torso. Breathing into the back body. On your exhale is when you revolve. Look to the floor. Hands to the floor. Slowly step back into that downward facing dog. Come onto your toes. Lift your hips up. Press your chest towards the thighs. And then elongate the torso. Belly button into the spine. So don't straighten the legs so much that you're doing this. So you don't want to round into the upper body. It's okay to bend your knees, lift the hips up, to press back. Take several more breaths here. Good. Inhale, plank pose. Lower both knees to the floor. Good. Cross your shins behind you, or swing your legs around, even or reach your heels out. Come near the top of your mat. The center of your mat. So as we got the legs straight, good. And now from here, grab your blocks. My blocks are right here. So I'm going to bring the blocks nearby. Good. I'm going to lie onto my back with my feet flat onto the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. Then I'm going to lie onto my back. As I lie into my back, lift the front rim of your pelvis towards your navel. Lengthen the buttocks down to the floor. Good. Now from here, bring your right knee into your chest. Roll the sides and the tops of your shoulders into the floor. Then flex that front foot. Keep the outer hip moving towards the top of your mat. So your left hand stays on the strap, your right thumb into your right hip crease. Push that hip crease forward. Keep your breastbone reaching towards your chin. Shimmy your shoulders away from your ears. Good. Now take a block. So you want to have the block like this. Bring the block behind the hamstring. Push the leg into the block and the block into the leg. And spread the top toes. Roll the shoulders down into the floor. Good. And then keep this going right here. Try to make space between each toe. So it's not about bending the leg and doing this here. So we're not quite working where we will optimally, excuse me. So as we hold on to the block, press the leg into the block into the leg, roll the shoulders down, keep the chest open. Good, a few more breaths here. So as you're keeping that there, I'm just gonna slide back a little bit. So now as we're still doing this, spreading the top toes, rotate the outer right hip towards the top of the mat that way so you can feel the outer hips moving in, and then straighten your left leg. Push your left heel through the floor so that you can use that heel to drag the floor forward, and then spread your toes. So look at your left big toe. Make sure you're trying to spread the toes, pull the toes, all 10 toes back towards your nose as you push the toe mound forward. Take a couple of breaths here. Breathe. It's okay if your bottom leg needs to bend a bit if the top leg bend. So don't focus on pulling, keeping the arms bent. It's more about leg, arms straight, leg straight. 2 more breaths here. Sides of the shoulders moving into the floor. Good. Slowly rebend your left leg first. Then your right leg. Place the block off to the side. Change legs. Bring your left leg into your chest. Interlace the fingers around that thigh bone. Roll the tops and the sides of the shoulders down into the floor. Good. Take your left thumb into that left hip crease. Push the hip crease forward. Pull that left thigh bone in a bit more. So we're moving this hip down towards the top of your mat to create more space here in that air region. Nice, and you're going to take the block and place the block now behind your left thigh hamstring. Push the leg up. So it's not bent arms. Push the leg up. Roll the sides and the tops of the shoulders down into the floor. Back of the neck is long. Take a few breaths here. Reaching through the heel to the ceiling. Pressing again the thigh bone into the blocks and the blocks into the thigh bone. And then from here, go ahead now and straighten your right leg. It's like you're dragging the floor forward with your right heel. Firm the outer hips in and stretch. Notice the arms. Keep them straight. Rotate the inner arms up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing your left hamstring into the block and the block back into the hamstring. Make that nice engagement there. So a few more breaths. Focus on your inhalations and your exhalations. Relax your throat, relax your jaw. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. And then rebend your right leg. And then your left leg. Good. Place the blocks off to the sides. Nice. And now from here, draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shin bones. If you can hold onto your elbows around your shin bones, fine. If not, that's okay. Try to lower your bottom, your hips, your lower back towards the floor. So it's not up towards the ceiling. Moving down. Take a couple of breaths here. Good. And then rock back and forward. Back and forth, rock yourself up, and then come onto your hands and your knees again. So as we come back onto your hands and your knees, grab your 2 blocks, place your 2 blocks to the highest height on the outside, on the outer edges of your mat. Bring your right foot forward. Good, so you bring your right foot forward, bend the knee forward, and then walk your left knee back behind you. Press the top of that foot into the floor. Now scoop the belly in, lengthen the buttocks away from your lower back. And then bring your hands down. Have the blocks underneath your shoulders. Inner arms is rotating forward. Lift up the front of your pelvis and then melt into that front thigh. Good. And maybe shimmy your left knee back a little bit more. Turn the inner arms forward, so don't grip the block. So lift up your right toes. Pull the heel energetically towards your left knee towards the heels. Crawl the inner body up and sit the hips down. So don't come into this position. You're just putting weight onto your knee for no reason. Lift the front of the pelvis up and watching how I roll through the body. Then we move forward. Yep, keep lifting up. Scoop the belly in. Front lower rib towards your navel as you lean back. Good. Then bring your chest into your front thigh. Now shift your hips over the back knee. Flex the front foot. Walk the blocks out as far as you can. Press your hands into the blocks. Pull your right hip crease back. Feel the outer right thigh moving underneath you, and then scoop the belly and stick that right buttock back. Stretch the arms forward, and now look forward. So try not to round into the back. Try to lengthen. Rotate the inner arms to the ceiling, pressing the hands into the blocks. Get longer. Breathe. Notice your thoughts. Just focus on the breath. So don't press your knee down to lock the knee. There may be a slight little bend in there to keep the quadriceps engaged. And then maybe you can feel yourself walking out a bit more. Keep your left outer hip and right outer hip in line with each other as much as you can. Good. Slowly bend into the front knee. Walk the blocks off to the sides. Good. Hands to the floor. Bring your front leg back. And let's do the opposite leg. Left leg forward. Move the blocks in first. Press the top of that back foot into the floor. Now, roll your shoulders back. Scoop the belly in. And then move your hips towards the back of your front knee. And again, it's not the chest going forward, because you can hang out like this all day long. Think more of rolling the shoulders back. Lift the breastbone and scoop the belly. And I like to lift up my front toes to pull the heel towards the back knee and the back knee towards the front heel. Push down into the blocks and lift up. Breathe. Inner arms is rotating forward. A few more breaths here. So as the more you roll the inner arms forward, push down, lengthen the buttocks away from your lower back, you may find that a little bit more room to go deeper. So as we're creating that engagement to protect ourselves, should feel it in your right hip flexor. Good. Slowly shift your hips over that back knee. Straighten the front leg. So don't jam the knee to the floor. Have a slight bend there, a little bend, and then wrap this left buttocks underneath you so you can feel the outer hips parallel to the top of your mat. Look forward. Walk the blocks out. Push your hands into the blocks, so don't grip. Push the hands into the blocks. Scoop the belly in. Feel as if this left thigh bone is moving back, but your breastbone is stretching forward. Again, so you're not rounding down. Notice my back. You're not sticking the rounding the bottom underneath you. You're pushing the heel into the floor to push that thigh bone, that hip buttock back. Scoop the belly and stretch your chest forward. Pressing the palms down into the block, spreading the fingers, rotate the inner arms forward to find that extension, length in the torso. Breathe. Focus on slowing the breath down, creating space in the spine, and breathe. Good. Slowly bend into the front knee, walk the blocks back, bring both knees together, move the blocks off to the side. Good. If you have your little band here, little elastic band, you'll come and then you would lie onto your backs as we lie into the back. So we're stretching the tops of the hip flexors there and into your your hamstrings. So we're just going to do a little bit of hip flexor strengthening. So as we lie into our backs, bring the strap around the tops of your feet. So with the straps around the tops of your feet, you're going to keep your heels parallel to the floor, your shin bones, your thighs, a 90-degree angle, keeping your knees as much as you can over your hips. Bring the hands to the floor. Now, keeping your right leg exactly where it is, press your left foot forward. And then slowly bring that in. Then press your right foot forward. Try to keep that left thigh exactly at that 90-degree angle. And then you bring it in. Now, you lower your head down. You don't have to keep the head off the floor. So, pressing through. Bringing in. Pressing through. Bringing in. And we're going to do that several more times. So right now, that should be just 2. So think about you have, after this one will be 3, you're going to have 7 more to go. Don't collapse. Do it nice and easy. Notice how I'm pressing through. And notice I'm having those little pauses at the extension of the bottom leg. I'm doing it with control. Taking an inhale, exhale, press through. Inhale, bring in. Exhale, press through. Inhale, bring in. Exhale, press through. Inhale, bring in. Exhale, press through, keeping your belly button pressing down into the floor. So it's about 3 more times on each leg. One more on each side. Good, nice. Draw your knees into your chest, take the band off. Now, with your feet flat onto the floor, you're going to take a block, place the block underneath your sacrum. Not into your lower back, right underneath your sacrum. Open up your palms to the ceiling. Roll the sides and the tops of the shoulders into the floor. And extend your right heel forward. Press the thigh down in towards the floor. Pull the toes back towards your head so you can feel the top of that hip flexor stretching out there. Bottom tips of the shoulder blades into your chest. Take a few breaths here. Back of your neck is nice and long. Notice if you can come and move your shoulders deeper underneath your chest there, your back, and then slowly rebend your right leg, and then reach your left heel out. Again, you want to stretch the top of that hip flexor there. Don't let the leg flare out to the side. Keep the toes up. Feel the inner thigh rotating down into the floor and firm the outer hip in. Belly button in towards your spine. Good. Bring both feet in. Separate the feet a little bit wider. Let your knees touch. Good. Take a couple of breaths here. The back of your neck is long. Your chest is reaching towards your chin. And you're just taking it easy for just a few more breaths here. Good. Now, bring your feet hip-width apart again. Stretch your right foot forward. Push the heel forward. Pull the toes back toward you. Feel engagement in that top of that thigh again. And do the same thing here. Nice. And if you want to, you can stretch the arms over your head. Don't let the front rim of the pelvis or your lower back drop down into the floor. Feel the lower back slightly lifting up so that your pelvis is in a neutral position. And just stretch. Maybe interlace your fingers over your head. Reach your palms to the wall above your head. Drive your heels forward. Keep the belly button moving down in towards the spine. Inner thighs is rotating in, so don't. As we keep the belly button in towards the spine, lengthen the buttocks away from your lower back towards your heels. Engage thighs, and then take the arms up towards the ceiling. Bring the palms down. You can spin here for a couple, stay here for a couple more breaths. And just breathe. Feeling that again, moving the shoulders deeper into the chest, rolling the sides and the tops of the shoulders down into the floor. And then slowly bend your legs. And then you're going to press your feet into the floor. Lift the hips up. Move the block from underneath you. Good. And now grab your strap. So in the strap, so there is no loop in the strap. Bring your right knee into your chest. Take the strap around the right foot. Push the heel in towards the ceiling. So notice my arms. Keep a straight arm. As we keep a straight arm, just like we did with the block behind the hamstring, push the hamstring forward with that slight bend here so you're not hyperextending or locking out the knee. Good. Arms is straight. Pull the thigh bone into the hip socket and then straighten your left leg. Take both straps into your left hand, rolling the top of that left shoulder into the floor. Take your right thumb into the right hip crease. Lengthen that right hip crease away from your right armpit. Good. So as you feel the outer hips now moving in and the inner left thigh, lift the heel up just a bit, about a quarter of an inch, and rotate the inner thigh down to the floor of your left leg and the inner thigh of your right leg towards your nose. And now go ahead and take a strap into each hand. Firm the outer hips in, spreading the toes. And then with your hands on the straps, turn your hands, palms towards you so that you can see your fingernails to keep the shoulders away from your ears. Good. Take a couple more breaths here. Back of your neck is long. Good. Now look at your left big toe. Walk your hands up the straps if you can. Have a strap in each hand. Keep pulling the thigh bone into the hip socket. The inner right thigh towards your nose. The inner left thigh towards the floor. And then as you lie back, maybe you can pull that leg with you. Take that leg with you. Keep the legs nice and engaged to protect your body here. You don't want to pull anything. And maybe lift up a bit more. Walk your hands further up the strap. Or if you can grab onto the foot, lie back and take the foot with you. Notice your shoulders. Keep moving the shoulders away from your ears. So if you bend the leg, that means it's okay to take the leg back until it's a straight leg. Let's focus with the leg straight instead of bending the leg, because this is more about the ego. This is with straight arms is more about the work here. Several more breaths. Hugging the outer hips in. Shoulders away from your ears, engaging the quadriceps and the thighs. Good. And slowly bend the top leg a bit, then bend the bottom leg. Bring the heel in. Bring the other heel in. Good. Place the strap off to the side. And then take a couple of breaths here. Breathe. Take a moment. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling. So notice how moving the strap is up out of the way. So when you're coming into this position here, have nothing touching your flesh, just the floor. So we can just let the central nervous system just release. And take a couple more breaths here. Maybe open up the heels a little bit wider than your hips. Let the knees touch. And just soften the outer body and just allow that, what we just did, to just move gently throughout your body. Allow your body to absorb that, to observe what just happened, to just luxuriate into it. And then separate your knees. Bring your feet hip width apart again. Draw your left thigh bone into your chest. Bring your left thumb into your left hip crease. Push that hip crease forward. Good, so you can bring that knee deeper into your chest. Then we're going to take the strap. Place the strap around the bottom of your left heel. Push the heel towards the ceiling. So again, just think first of having that heel directly over the knee, over your hip joint right there. Not forward, not bend. So keep it right here. Roll the sides and the tops of the shoulders down into the floor. Turn your fingers forward so you can see your fingernails and move your shoulders away from your ears. And then from here, slide your right heel forward. Pull the toes back towards your nose on both feet and push both heels away. So you're like dragging the floor forward with your right heel, and then lift the heel up, just move over like a half an inch, half a centimeter or so over to the right. So you can feel that right inner thigh moving down into the floor, and then turn your left inner thigh towards your nose like you're screwing that thigh bone into the hip socket. And then take a few breaths here. Just breathe. Allow your body to become the pose. Allow your body to become this first. Asana means to take a seat. So we're just taking a seat here. We're not killing ourselves. It's not about causing harm. Couple more breaths. Good. So take both straps into your right hand. Again, left thumb into the left hip crease. Lengthen that outer hip towards the inside of your right ankle. Good. And as you press the thigh bone away from you, maybe pull the leg in a little bit more. Take your hands back up. Have a strap into each hand. Notice how you're gripping the strap. Have a firm grip and have compassion. Don't grip too hard and don't try to wrap your arms in with it. Focus on creating a strong grip. Work your forearms so that we can help improve your downward facing dog inversions and stuff like that. Good. Now from here, look at your right big toe. Lift the upper body off the floor. Walk your hands up the strap if you can, keeping both arms nice and straight. See if you can lie back and take the leg with you. The inner left thigh rotates towards your nose. The outer left hip cross towards your inner right ankle. Back of your neck long. Turning your fingernails towards your body so you can see. Keep pushing both heels away from you, engaging both quadriceps, firming the outer hips in. Breathe into this. Don't force yourself. Allow your body to just melt into this. It will know and tell you when it's ready. Lift the upper body off the floor. Look at your right big toes. And then maybe you can take your hands further up the strap, or you can hold onto the foot. Pull the thigh bone into your hip sockets, both into your hip sockets, and maybe lie back and take the leg with you. And for me, I can take the strap off. So I'm going to hold onto my foot, lift up, scoop the belly in, and then lie back. Try to pull the arms back into the shoulder sockets. Pushing both heels away, engaging both quadriceps. The outer left hip is moving forward. The inner right thigh towards the floor. About 5 more good breaths here. Good. Slowly bend the top leg a little bit. Bring your right foot to the floor. Bring your left foot to the floor. And just we're going to melt here for several breaths. Open up the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Let the knees touch. And again, I like to shimmy my shoulders down my back. Notice how I'm doing it, so I get the tops of the shoulders rolling down into the floor. The inner upper arms is turning out, so my chest is nice and open. The back of the neck is long. And now just breathe here. Inhale, exhale. And then go ahead, take the arms out towards the sides. Let's separate your knees. And if anything is onto your right side that might hinder you from letting your legs drop to that side, just move it out the way. And then let your right knees move over towards the right side. Your knees move over to the right side of the room. Pressing your right arm into the floor. Lift your torso up and then extend your left arm out towards the side. Let your inner left thigh collapse. The outer right thigh is onto the floor. Good. And if you like, you can take your right ankle across your left knee. Press your right arm into the floor. Turn your torso a little bit more towards the left. And just focus on breathing into the back body. Good. Bringing your right heel to the floor. Let your knees go up towards the ceiling. Keep your feet wide. And now the knees are going to fall over towards the left side of the room. Good. Press your left arm into the floor. Rotate your torso more towards the right. Breathe into the back body. Letting your inner right thigh get very heavy. Let your outer left thigh get very heavy. Breathe. Focus again more on breathing into the back body. If you like, you can take your left ankle across your right knee. Good. Add a little bit more weight there as we just fall over and breathe. Looking up towards the ceiling, let the knees go softly up. Let the knees touch again. And then bring your hands to your belly, shimmy your shoulders away from your ears. Back of your neck is nice and long. Breathe. And then separate the knees, draw your thigh bones into your chest, wrap your arms around your shin bones. And if you can hold onto your elbows, pull the heels in towards the buttocks, lengthen the buttocks towards the top of your mat. Take a big inhale. Exhale, forehead to touch your knees. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, forehead to touch your knees. Stay like this. Inhale like this. Exhale, squeeze it out. Inhale, lower down. And then the lower body. And then you can take your 2 blankets. I had the 2 blankets stacked on top of each other. Lift the backs of the legs up. I like to bring the blankets across the mat as such. Then as we're here, we'll just extend the legs out. Let the thighs turn out a little bit. Open up the palms to the ceiling. Shimmy your shoulders away from your ears. Back of your neck is long. And now just slowly begin to release the outer body. Release the inner body. Release your throat, your jaw, your breath. And just starting to let everything go. Again, I'm just moving things around a bit because I like not to have anything touch my body except for the floor as I prepare for Shavasana. So take a big inhale. Exhale, dissolve beneath the surface of the floor. Shavasana. Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Slowly inhale your knees into your chest. Give yourselves a big hug. Little rocking from side to side. Extend your right arm over your head by your right ear. Roll over to your right side into a fetal position. Let your head rest onto your arm as your face looks towards the floor. Place your left hand onto the floor in front of your chest. Keep looking at the floor as you slowly press yourself up. And then grab your blankets. Come have a seat onto your blankets. Cross your legs. Pull the flesh of the buttocks slightly back behind you. Lifting up out of your waist. So I'm going to do a little turning towards my left. So as I face the camera here. Lifting up nice and tall, bring your palms down into your thighs. Hug the elbows in, lengthen the inner body, soften your shoulders. And let's take several breaths here. Inhale, exhale. The sides and the tops of your shoulders are moving away from your knees. Armpits are lifting up towards the ceiling, shoulder blades firmly pressing onto your back. As we soften the outer body, we lengthen the inner body, and just focus on the breath. Inhale, exhale. You can stay in this pose as long as you need. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you need. And if you need to leave, you just bring your palms to touch. Notice as the palms touching, you want to lengthen the inner body. Good. Belly button into the spine so we can keep the chest open. And now get a little bit taller on your exhalation. Soften the shoulders. And we're going to close this practice with one Om. Everyone take a big inhale. Exhale, sigh, and let the breath go. Full inhale. Namaste. Thank you. I'm Yoga Hollis. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be well.